one thing that I've done is I have created a folder called as Dusk app, and in that folder I have three things. I have Dusk API, which is empty right now, Dusk UI, empty right now, and mockups. And mockups is nothing but that HTML, the index HTML that we just saw, okay, and all the assets that came with it. So we have that mockups, that dummy code there. Before we start to create anything, we need to set up our folder once. So how we need to set up a folder? First of all, as soon as you add folder in your Visual Studio Code, okay, I would say Visual Studio Code is really good. So if you can switch to it, definitely recommend it. The extensions are really great. If you want to stick with, say, Atom or Sublime Text or Notepad++ or whatever text editor of your choice, you can, because it's a web development project. Then the text editor doesn't really matter. It might matter when we come to the API part of it, but not really here. So not really for the UI part. It doesn't really matter. It should be your preference. But if you are new, I would recommend Visual Studio Code. Okay. So something that we need to do if you are following Visual Studio Code is whenever you add your folder here, and you know that this folder is going to be as the working folder of yours, okay, you need to right click it. Okay, I don't think you can. Yeah, you can right click it, and you need to add your folder to the workspace. Okay, what will happen in the future? You are going to work on one project, then you have to work on something else. Now that project might have a different language, might not be using React. It's really important to keep everything organized in a workspace. What you do is go to file, and you can add your folder to the workspace as well. And after you do that, remember to save workspace as. When you save workspace as, it will ask you to save this .workspace file. It will ask you to save this somewhere. So you just put it inside your folder. That's it. Sublime is much more compact and light. It's true. So I have used Sublime, I have used Atom, I have used Notepad++, I have used normal Notepad as well for web development, and I've used VS Code. But I would still say that VS Code is the best, because even though web development does not require a lot of, this is not like Android development. You are not using Android Studio, which is going to hog all of your resources. You will have plenty of resources to spare. Like right now I can run 10 web development projects as well as stream, and it will not lag my system. So the part that it's light or heavy doesn't really that matter. You just need to know that what makes you more comfortable. Duskapp.code workspace is going to be a JSON file. Yeah, and it's going to save all of your settings that you put here, and we are going to go through the settings once. So Fira Code Retina is the font that I use. It's available on GitHub. You can just Google it and you'll find it. Let me see if I can bring it up to you, and why I really like it, I'll just show you. Google Fonts, yeah, you can download it directly from Google Fonts as well now. Previously it was not there. So yeah, so it was created by the Mozilla Foundation. So Mozilla, if you need anything regarding to the web development, any documentation, any information, any standards you need to go to Mozilla. Mozilla is insane. Okay, so like if you are doing an if condition and then you are checking something, so A equals to B, equals to B. Here we have two equals, but when you combine them together, it's going to create a single equal to. And when you have to check for not equality, you will do not equality like this, and it's going to show it in a very compact way. So your mind will not focus on how long it is, and you can read your code very easily. That's that. And also we are going to work with arrow functions. So ES6 arrow functions, those are really important. When you will see this arrow here, it looks really good as compared to something like that. What else do I really like about Fira Code? The thing about Fira Code is every font is equally spaced. I think it's called mono spaced fonts. I don't know, I forgot about it, but yeah, that's why I really like Fira Code. So would recommend Fira Code Retina as the font to use, and I'll be using that. But yeah, it's your preference also, but we are going to use Fira Code. Okay, let's continue then. That's our basic setup done. Now let's start about our front-end development. How are we going to do it? So if you guys don't have any knowledge of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, I'll give you that, but when we'll go through, I'll just explain everything what it does in very quick manner. Okay. One more thing, if you are on VS Code, then you can just do an exclamation mark HTML, I think, right? Or was it just HTML? yeah, HTML5, and you can just press enter. It will give you the boilerplate code automatically. Hey, editor Dusk here. So the next 5 to 10 minutes is just me giving a brief about HTML, CSS and JavaScript. If you already know about it, then feel free to skip to the next section. But if you're new and you want to learn more about it, I've added few reference links in the description below. In the upcoming videos, I will assume that you have a basic understanding of the three. If you have never built anything in UI before, so just to let you know, that first thing we would need would be an index.html file. I'm not I'll just give a brief introduction about HTML. So the browser will only understand these codes, this syntax of HTML opening bracket and closing bracket and something like that. So you need to conform to these rules. Also, this is not a language, a programming language. It's just a markup language. It does not have any logic behind it, but it has it will structure the data in such a way that the browser will understand it. Got it? Great. If you have any doubts, just let me know. Then we would have basically a head tag and a body tag. Okay. So head, body, body, anything that you see on the website is the body tag, and the head tag would be something like scripts and something like CSS that you're going to see, and we are going to talk a little bit about the CSS as well. So that's something about very basically, that's all. So this is the boilerplate code. It will give you this thing automatically, the head, the body, what you need, HTML, the language as well. So this is something like, and also the title. The title is where what you see on the top of the screen. So Twitch, you might be able to see right now will be, I think, deskpage slash or dash Twitch on your Chrome browser. So that's the title here. Basic. That's the absolutely basics of HTML. Right. Now we will delete this file and we'll think, okay, what I'll do, I'll just go through the HTML file that of the code that we just saw earlier, like the whole website that we saw, the display website. That's the HTML. This is the HTML file that relates to it. So we would have something like links here. So links are nothing but you can link your CSS to it. So CSS is something which tells you how this element is going to be styled. Okay, it's going to say how this is going to look. It does not have any logic. It might have some logic pertaining to how it will be placed, how it will look like, basically the makeup of this is the skeleton of it, and then you can apply makeup and make it look good. So that's the whole part of the CSS thing. And then you have JavaScript. These three things are the only thing, or these three items, CSS, HTML and JavaScript, are the only thing that the browser understands. Browser does not understand anything else. It doesn't understand Python. It does not understand anything else. Why was this created? Because you need a unified way of flowing information around. Why is website such a big thing right now as well after so many years? But Android apps are decreasing a little bit. The popularity of Android apps are decreasing a little bit. Why is it? Because to cater to a broad number of devices, you need something which is very which doesn't depend from one device to another. So it would look the same on your phone, it would look the same on your TV, it would work the same way on your smart fridge as well, or on your desktop or anything. So you need a very common way. So that's why browsers only understand these three languages: HTML, CSS and JavaScript. HTML just carries the data with it, what it is about, and then CSS is how it's going to look like, and then you have JavaScript is some fancy stuff. So how the code will flow around, if it's going to bounce or not. You can do anything with it. You can have forms, you can have validations. If you see right now, all the things like a chat, so it brings the life into the boring and HTML part of it. So why does this application of ours looks so boring or so dull here? If you see, it's because it does not have any JavaScript. It has a little bit of JavaScript. If you see this, if I click here, it's going to like scroll down. So that part, that smooth scrolling is JavaScript. A little bit of it is JavaScript. That's it. That's all that we have for JavaScript. And also we have this pop-up here, which is also JavaScripty. So we have that. Now coming to React, what React is a framework. It's not even a framework. It's a library. So React is a library, and what it does, it's JavaScript library. So it makes our lives easier to use JavaScript. Basically, you with JavaScript you can do anything, but you need some structure in the code. JavaScript inherently does not have any structure. It does not have any specific way. So if you think about C++, if you have worked with it, or Python you have worked with it, you know that you have to follow some structure, like main function is there, you need to write it in there. If you think of it, C++ or C sharp or even C, you need to have your headers first. Sorry, I can't remember now. I think you should do the hashtag include those part, then you will have your main function, and yeah, at least that part you need. But JavaScript doesn't have any structure like that, so it makes it really tough. Our jobs becomes very tough when you have to think about multiple things that are happening at the same time. So an API call is being made, and that is happening, that and so it's going to be very, very messy. So that's why React and Angular, something like that, will really help you. How React and Angular are different: Angular is a framework. It's not just a library. It's not just a JS file. It's a full-fledged framework. So framework, what it does is provide you a very, very it will provide you like a C++ or a Java type of experience, that you have to conform to those rules only, then only you can do it. If not, then your system is going to look bad, or what will happen, you will have performance leaks or something like that. But on the other hand, React is just a JS file. We don't have to do much about it. It will not do much on its own as well. It's just a JS file that you can include in your index.html. So it's just a JavaScript library or file. Okay, so before you create anything in React, I think you need to install npm first. So to install npm, you guys can go to I'll show you. Okay, what I was talking about was how you will install Node.js. So just Google Node.js, you'll find Node.js website here. Go to the download page or go to the home page and just download the LTS version of it. The LTS version means a long-term support. Long-term support means it will be the most stable, and most companies, most organizations, and most developers would also just use the LTS support, the LTS version of it. Even though 17.6 sounds crazy, like you will have the latest features, but most of the times you will not even use those latest features. So just use the LTS version for now, and when they will upgrade their LTS version, use that. It's okay. LTS means long-term support, so it is the most stable. That's all that you need to know. When you will just click on it, it will start downloading. If you see here, okay, you can't see here, but on the top right of your Chrome, it's just going to download, and just install it, and I think restart your system. If it asks you to restart, maybe it's not going to ask you, I don't know, I forgot. The last time I installed that was, I think, 6 years ago. So it's a one and done thing, so it does not require you to regularly update it or install it. Okay, when you will install Node.js, you'll get something called as the npm. It will come bundled with it. So npm is nothing but your Node package manager. So Node package manager it's like an extension store. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. So if you have like Chrome, you can have multiple extensions to it. If you want apps for your mobile or Android, you will go to the Play Store. So this is something like that, but for developers. So you would have shit ton of packages here. Like you will have a lot of packages here. You can just install it. We will get into how you can install it and how you can do that later. And if you do that, I think you should be good to go. So then you can come back to our Visual Studio Code, how to create a React application from scratch. I don't really remember, so we are going to look that up right now. Okay, get started or take the tutorial. Let's get started with it. it just highlights that it's a JavaScript library. And what I really want to ask is, do we need to add React to a website or create a new React app? Okay, you use npm React. Okay, but for that, do you need to install React first? That's what we want to see. Okay, npx, this command in npx, what it does is going to execute whatever code that you write here. So this package does not need to be installed. You can just do npx here and it's going to create it. So we are going to try it right now. So if you come to the React website, the documentation of it, you will have the getting started, add React to a website. So this is where you can add React to an existing website. I think that how you can do that is just add it as a you can add it like a div and just the script tag, right? Because as I mentioned before, you React is just a library. It's just JavaScript code. Okay, you can just add it there. But if you want to create a React app from scratch, then they really recommend using npx create React app. So let's do that real quick. I'll come back to VS Code. So yeah, but prerequisites are you have downloaded npm, you have downloaded Node.js. Okay, so from the bottom, if you just pull it out, this is how it's going to look like. This will give you a terminal. Terminal means you can either have PowerShell, CMD, or whatever that you like here. You can have that. I've set it to PowerShell because PowerShell is more I think powerful of course, but also it has better formatting, better colors and stuff like that. So recommend you to use PowerShell. Okay, so we have this here. Then what they asked us to do was, okay, first let us go into our directory. So I'm just going to do an ls. So yeah, ls is something that only PowerShell supports because it's a Linux command, ls. So I see that I have dustqi, right? So I'll just do cd dustqi, and also it supports tabbing. I'm not sure if cmd supports tabbing or not, like tab to autocomplete. I've just written dusk here, right? It has two options. It has dusk API and dusk UI. When I press tab, it goes to dusk API. When I think I can press tab once more and it's going to come to the second option, dusk UI, and I can then just press enter. You don't have to type everything all by yourself. Okay, that part is there. Now what it wanted us to do was npx create React app. Let me just create React app. And my app, should we call it my app or dusk app? Let's just call it dusk UI. So it's going to install the create React app in your local system very quickly, and then it's going to I think take us through a tutorial, not a tutorial, but installation steps if you want something or not. I think so. And it's going to create it where we have executed this command. So I was in the dusk UI folder. That's where I installed this. So it's going to do all of that stuff in the dusk UI folder here on the left, if you see. Okay, what did it give me? It did all of that crazy stuff. Then it installed it, and I think it also initialized a Git repository, which is something that I was not looking forward to, but okay, fine. You have that. And then npm start, npm run build, run eject. Okay, it says that if you want to start it, then you can do npm start. Run build will build your application, and you can move the files to production. We will come go through all these later. Now we should have some sort of structure in our folder here. So if you see, we have in our dusk UI, we have a separate folder called dusk UI again. Then it has a node modules folder, a full on node modules folder, a public folder, a src folder, a git ignore, package log.json, package .json file, and a readme file. You don't have to worry about most of the files here. I can explain it in okay, I'll just tell a single line about it. Okay, so git ignore is something what things needs to be ignored by the GitHub system. If you don't know about GitHub, then I would recommend that you get to know about it, because without that you won't be able to write production code. But you what happens in most companies is when you start the job, they will tell you about GitHub themselves if you don't know about it. because a lot of people are not aware of it. Git is just a source control. Source control means if you change anything in your file, you need to know what changes that you made, and you can come back to the file. So it's just like a history version of it. Package.json file would have all the information about your project. So here you will have your name, version, private, dependencies, scripts. Okay, but the main thing that you need to know here is dependencies. What is your project really dependent on? It's really dependent on React 17.02, React DOM, and React scripts, Web Vitals. I think React is the only thing that we are dependent on, but because React also depends on React DOM, so they are going to add it here. That's that part. What we have for package.json. Package.log.json is nothing but where your package is going to be installed from. So don't worry about it that much. Okay, in our src folder is our source folder. Source folder would contain everything regarding our source code. Public folder is something. This is the stuff that you are going to copy and paste it into the website hosting part. So look at this mockups. What is the mockup? What is the structure of this? It has an index.html file, it has styles.css, it has some assets, and that's it. So that's what the public folder is going to be. It's going to contain an index.html file, all JS files that it will have, and also the assets. What you will do, you'll just zip this folder and provide it to some hosting website. Say that, okay, this is the folder, just deploy it. So that's the public folder. And src folder. Src folder is where you will do all of your job. This is the main coding part. What I'm seeing is that we don't have an index.html file. Huh? That's crazy. We have app.js, then we have index.js, logo.svg. We don't have index.html. We have it in our public folder, but will this use the one that we are going to create? Like, will it link it properly or not? We'll see. Let's look into our documentation and we'll learn about it even more.